Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. Just finished pack march from home from Waitangiroa down here to Old Te Lagoon. Still here, sitting on the bench around the lagoon. Pretty quiet now. There was only a handful of people around here, probably due to the weather not really being ideal for an evening stroll. So you might think it's not too bad with the pack though. Good to get that done. Took about 33 minutes to get from home down to the lagoon. Pack is still just under 40 kilos, 39.8, 39.9 kilos. Here it is here, if you can see it. So, yeah. Got a little cover over it to keep whatever's dry, or not whatever, to keep the kit that's inside it dry. Yeah, good. Why was I doing this? A few thoughts along the way, some conversations had with people through the Google form, and a number of questions that have come through in the comments, and also through emails, through people that have gone to my channel description and then sent through some questions. A few people have asked questions thrown up in and around exercise Von Tempsky, the dreaded Von Tempsky and the jerry cans. They are 24 hours worth. People asking if I did any grip strength stuff in preparation for the jerry cans, and how do I cope with blisters. There was a bunch of other ones, but I just want to stick with those two first. Did I do any training specific with jerry cans for selection here in New Zealand? No, I didn't. Nobody would have seen me going out, walking around with my pack on, webbing, and carrying a jerry can or two jerry cans. I just didn't do that. I didn't carry any ammo tins. I didn't carry anything to try to simulate carrying jerry cans with all my kit. Why? I honestly didn't think that I needed to, because that, although there's a time to it, it wasn't timed in terms of I needed to be at a certain place within a certain period of time, if that makes sense. Yes, I knew it was going to be 20 to 24 hours long, but that's just a slog. That's just, do you want to be here and serve in the unit or not? That's all it came down to me. So that was my mindset before going into selection. So that's probably all I would say about that. Do I think you need to? Do I think you should? I think you should do what you feel you need to do to help you prepare for selection. I personally don't have in any of my programming for people that I'm working with, I do not program the person carrying all their kit and going out and walking with jerry cans to get an idea of how that feels. Not for 15 minutes, not for 20 minutes, not for half an hour, not for an hour. There's other stuff that the program focuses on, and I've talked about what those core fundamental aspects are with regards to the selection itself. So that's the other piece was about blisters. Like, everybody gets blisters. When you're in Von Tempsky and you're in the dunes, you are going to get blisters. The sand is going to rub in your hands. It's going to make the skin come off. I mean, no disrespect to anybody, like, I know what it's like to get blisters. I know what it's like when you get calluses and then you rip those things off. They get ripped off when you're lifting, and those have probably been more painful than walking around and just having to deal with the blisters. That's just some chafing and some rubbing that's happening. Sorry, that's a train going past if you can't hear me. And just understand and accept that you're going to get blisters. Everybody's got them. Just find a way to push through. Put some tape around your hands if you have to when you get to stop and have a break. Drink some water. Think about something else. I don't know. Do whatever you have to do to get through that. It's a blister. I've seen people whose feet were just blanket trashed, skin rubbed red raw, still went through and passed selection, so it can be done. Thankfully, my feet were never red raw like that. I'm grateful for that, but it would have meant that I would have had to find something else up here to push through. So that's that piece. The other piece that I wanted to talk about was in regards to the amount of pack work. So I did an explanation talking about selection preparation, my thoughts, what I put in my program, the 45654 deload, so on and so on. That's for a tailored program. So somebody that I'm working with, I try to incorporate that. The generic program is pretty much centered around 4 to 5 days worth of pack work each week with varying times and, again, progressive overload in terms of the weight and distances and times and stuff accumulated as well, with an indication of roughly what sort of, how many kilometers you want to try to hit. So, yep, I get it. And there's probably, well, not probably, there's a whole bunch of people far smarter than me, right? Got degrees and all sorts of stuff. And there've been a number of people talk about or have spoken to me about, the program that I'm doing, it only has pack work once a week or twice a week. And, I'm making really good progress. I'm making really good gains, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. Hey, if that works for you, I don't want to be the negative Nelly or negative Nigel that tells you, oh, that's rubbish, don't do that. I wouldn't do that. I don't want to do that out of respect for people that have put time and effort into that program. And likely it's and based on some of the people that have done those things, it's based on some science and evidence, which everybody loves. So that's cool. Like if that is working for you, 100% do that. But for me, my take and part of my rationale, which I haven't spoken about in the other videos, is in regards to like anything, right? The more you practice something and the more you do something, the more exposure you have to it, the more reps that you get in, the better you get at it, the more confident you are at it, and the more efficient you become. Don't get me wrong, you can still be extremely good and be at a high level with poor technique, with not doing as much or not having as much exposure or repetition as other people. I genuinely believe that you can still get to that level. But as I mentioned with anything, like shooting, if you shoot once a week, yeah, you're going to be all right. You're going to make some progress. But I'm willing to bet that the person that puts in time and shoots 2 times a week, 3 times a week, all other things being equal, same amount of time, whether you're shooting for 30 minutes, an hour, whatever, and the other person, every time they go and shoots only for that 30 minutes or an hour, but they do it 2 times a week or 3 times a week or 4 times a week or 5 times a week, I'm willing to bet that person is going to be a heck of a lot more better, more accurate, more efficient, faster in terms of drills and everything like that, stoppages, remedying stoppages and all that sort of thing. Same with running. If you run once a week, more power to you. Good work. Well done. Somebody who runs, all things being equal, 2, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week, they're more than likely going to be better, more efficient, and be more accustomed and attuned to the rhythm of that pattern, the running, the impact, the cadence, all that sort of thing. Same with driving. Same with learning a skill, whether you're a doctor. Same with turning up to work in whatever capacity it is that you do. If you turn up once a week, you might be all right. You might not have your job for very long because, that's a bit humbug if you're only showing up once a week. But if you're there every day in the grind doing it, I'm willing to bet you're going to be pretty good at it. Same with the pack, ladies and gentlemen. If you are training with your pack once a week, twice a week, and it's working for you, hey, like I said, more power to you. Awesome. Just understand on selection, I'm sorry for laughing, but you are not going to be doing a pack session 1 day a week for an hour and a half or for an hour. Now, I don't care. That's just me personally speaking here, not backed by any science. So I don't care what degree you have. I don't care how much progress you're making on an hour or an hour and a half a week, 1 session of pack work a week, preparing for a special air service selection. I don't care who you are. You are in for a rude shock when you get on selection, whether you do New Zealand, Australian, or dare I say 2-2, even though I haven't done 2-2 SAS Selection. You've heard of the Hills phase, right? In 2-2. Goes for several weeks, and then there's a testing week. They are not doing 1 hour to an hour and a half of pack work once a week. I can give you the tip. and neither is New Zealand, and neither is Australia. So there's a whole bunch of benefits that come from getting used to that grind, getting used to that dread of, oh, I've got to put this pack on and it's 2 kilos or 2.5 kilos heavier, and I've got to go for 2 hours or 3 hours or an hour and a half, and it's consecutive days before I get to the deload. There's a power in that, and it's still smart enough because it still spreads out the work over the course of a week. Even though it's 4, 5, 6, 5, 4 for a tailored program, or roughly 4 to 5 days a week every week of pack work, if you're doing the generic program, there's a power in that, man. Not only physically, but mentally, to turn up and put that pack on. Now understand, as I mentioned in the other video, you're going to have your pack on anywhere, conservatively, anywhere from 6 hours to 9 hours plus. It's more than likely going to be more than that per day, every day, for the duration of your selection. 21 days, 3 weeks Australian selection, 10 days testing, not including the 5 days pre-selection stuff. If they still do that, I'm pretty sure they do. I don't think, hopefully, I don't know, if this message still doesn't land with people, if people still want to do the 1 or 2 days a week worth of pack work, and as I mentioned, you're receiving benefit and you're progressing and you are confident with that, awesome. Like, hey, go for it. You've asked for my 2 cents. I'm giving it to you straight, unfiltered, pulling back the curtain a little bit in terms of my experience, having had the privilege to go through 2 and basically trained fairly similar for both. One thing that I would change and do differently is I would have given more time to that 3.2. Thankfully, I just scraped in, and I was able to recover fairly quick after. But yeah, the 3.2 in Australia, that's a killer. That one nearly caused me to be unstuck in terms of going through selection. So thankfully I got through that. But yeah, pack work, man, pack work. That is the bread and butter that in my opinion, you should spend a heavy amount of time on doing. Make sure you can do the other stuff to pass, especially on the day 1 events and that sort of thing, or activities. But if your pack work isn't dialed in, and if your body's not used to that, your feet aren't accustomed to that, for going days after day after day, or day after day, I should say, things are going to rub in places that you didn't know existed when you were doing your 1 session a week for an hour to an hour and a half. You are going to find out where those things are rubbing because of the duration and the exposure and the volume that you're going to have with regards to the time under load with your pack. So anyway, I just wanted to get that, share that, and respond to those. Going through and doing the pack march tonight, getting down here to Aotea Lagoon, then doing a few laps around, then finishing off with some compulsories, pull-ups, push-ups, bar dips, sit-ups, and some inverted rows, because there's no rope here. Yeah, helped me to just sort of gather my thoughts, hopefully. And hopefully I've managed to communicate that in some sort of coherent fashion anyway. I'm getting a ride back home, so I'm getting picked back up. That's why I'm sitting down. Bloody rubbish motorbike. Wannabe blinking boy racer. So getting picked up, don't have to walk back home. Well, I think I'm getting picked up anyway. I thought she might have been here by now, but she's not, so better not count my chickens too soon. Maybe I might be walking home. But yeah, hopefully that helps, eh? The jerry can stuff, hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, I don't think you need to go out and practice long hours carrying a jerry can. Blisters, just without trying to be disrespectful, like, you just have to get over that, suck that up. And pack work, I do earnestly, genuinely, sincerely believe that you need to get out and do a lot of time with the pack. That's just my thoughts based on my experience. But kia koe, up to you, over to you, your choice, your decision. If you feel that you don't need to because you're making the progress and it's working for you, then don't let anybody stand in your way. You run with what it is that is working for you, and I wish you all the very best with it, sincerely. So if that's working, blinking, awesome for you. It definitely would not have worked for me. Knowing what I know, having gone through a couple of selections. So this helps. Appreciate your time as always. Appreciate the members that are there. Just understand that some of this stuff may not be as prevalent on the public channel, but I will still try to post up some Q&A stuff. But yeah, a vast amount of content will be directed towards the members, and I'm just truly appreciative of those that have taken the time to join up as members for the channel. Genuinely appreciative of those that have signed up, or not signed up, but subscribed and that sort of thing, liked, commented or shared. Genuinely appreciate you as well. Will not forget yous, don't worry about that, and I do not take it for granted. So stay awesome, keep smashing everybody, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight. Whatever challenges, obstacles, trials that you may be going through, know that you're not alone. Sometimes it's okay to get out and be in your own head and get out and walk by yourself with no mates like I did tonight. And just keep turning up. Just know that the sun will shine again. There are better days ahead. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? Remember, go always a little further. Who dares wins. And as always, sending a big mana wave from me to you until the next video, filled with my aroha, respect and appreciation.